on the restraining order?
What's that?
Are you good at just hammering out the details on the restraining order, and I'm just gonna get all the details on like what actually happened when he was there?
It's a straight no contact for elder dependent abuse.
Is there a reason why you didn't call 911? Because we have to have a West Side deputy come here, ma'am.
Okay, then have them come here. I need to make the
I just
report.
want to make sure of that. It's gonna. Let me help this young man here. Can you step aside here? I'll take care of you. Give me a second. Get you the appropriate help.
I get it. I'm filming the whole thing.
Perfect.
This is a high-profile case. This involves Scott Largent, and it involves the sheriff.
Just your name, your name, your contact number, and the location of where you live, where it's occurring at.
This is Susan Bassey, and for the last 5 years I've had the privilege of working with independent investigative reporters and members of mainstream media, where we've tried to provide transparency and accountability for law enforcement agencies, our local courts, and our local public government. But it wasn't until we met a group of individuals known as First Amendment auditors on YouTube that we knew that something important had happened, and that by working together and collaborating on these projects, we would be able to solve one of the biggest public corruption investigations in California's history. And it was with everybody's help here on this channel that we were able to do that. And over the next several days, I'm going to show you exactly how we got that done.
Lori Smith. I'm a resident here in the Rose Garden.
Okay.
And
Me too.
Where do you live?
I live on.
I'm on Garden Drive.
Oh,
so I have a question for you.
Yes.
As a father, okay, my daughter's been on national news. I'm the biological father of Audrey Pott. Okay.
Let's get a picture first.
Okay.
Let's see if we can.
Wow. Make us look good, that's all. That's all.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So, you know what? I want to introduce you to some of our detectives.
My question to you is one, on national television, you're supporting a dialogue that is not true on what happened to my daughter. Okay? I have her reports of the domestic violence and this emotional, psychological abuse that she was experiencing in her home.
This video was captured by a citizen journalist, Michael Lazarin. Michael has spent over $250,000 in legal fees and his own time and resources investigating not only his daughter's life, but her death, which resulted from a suicide in 2012, after Audrey had been living with her biological mother and sharing custody time with her stepfather, Larry Pott. And I want to show you part of Michael's journey because it's an important component of our investigation and how we solved one of the largest public corruption cases in California's history.
Couples break up. It's sad but common. What followed for me was anything but common, and that's where my heart was truly broken. Instead of being just a sad and difficult transition as it is in lots of families, it became a nightmare.
This is Michael Lazarin, the father of Audrey Pott, a young teen who committed suicide in Saratoga, California in 2012. And it was her death and the allegations of cyberbullying that led to new laws in California. And those laws also led to the re-election of the Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen. And it was this press conference that resulted in Audrey's mother, her stepfather, and her stepmother suing Michael Lazarin for using Audrey's name, likeness, and image, which they had registered with the state immediately following her death. And it was Michael's journey that took us to the Court of Appeal, where he is fighting a First Amendment issue, the issue of his right to be able to speak about and show the image of his own biological child.
That destroyed my family and nearly destroyed me. While we're living as a family, albeit a non-traditional family, without benefit of legal connection, my 7-year-old Audrey came to me one day crying, telling me her mother was telling her she had no family in Arizona, that my parents were not her real grandma and grandpa. I approached Audrey's mother and asked, why in the world would she say such a thing to our daughter? She had no answer for me. 3 months later, on December 12, 2003, Audrey and I trimmed the Christmas tree together while her mother attended her company holiday party. When her mother returned, she was accompanied by her new boyfriend, whom I didn't know existed at this moment. They came to take Audrey. And at that moment, I was utterly powerless. I had no legal claim on the daughter I loved and raised to that moment. My daughter and I never got the opportunity to open the gifts under the tree we decorated together.
I love elevator interviews. They're my favorite. You're the attorney for the Potts, yes? Would you like to answer some questions about your case today, sir? The attorney from the other side was willing to talk to me about it. They're important First Amendment issues. And I heard you argue that Facebook was not a broadcast subject to the anti-SLAPP. Is that correct? Would you mind answering some questions about the anti-statute that you cited to the justices today, sir? Sheila, do you have any questions? Or would you like to make any comments, Sheila? Sheila Pott, you're a member of the Los Altos community, and a lot of parents there are interested. You all collected money from the Los Gatos parents. I was a parent in Los Gatos at the time. You held a fundraiser at the Los Gatos movie theater, and you collected money from parents, and you moved forward on teen suicide issues, and you were very vocal at the time about teen suicide, and now you appear to not want to be able to say anything. Would you like to comment on people who are saying that you colluded with the district attorney's office in order to get a larger settlement in the civil case, and that Eric Geffen was representing the boys in that criminal case, and he had them take a plea deal which gave you a financial benefit? And do you have any comment about what you did to those boys in Saratoga?
And part of our investigation includes investigating how victims perceive law enforcement agencies as protecting public safety and justice. And in reality, when it comes to domestic violence and civil harassment cases, these issues are addressed by a county or city's prosecuting agency, which means it is not the law enforcement officers who are responsible for these issues unless it occurs directly in front of them. It is, in fact, the responsibility of the prosecuting agency of each county to address them, and that means, in Santa Clara County, the district attorney, Jeff Rosen, who has prosecuted these cases for his own political career since 2012.
Restraining order, it is valid till 2022.
We're aware of that.
All right, and just want to reconfirm the location of the incident. Is it 333 West Santa Clara Street?
Yes.
And it was on this day, February 3rd, that I filed a police report that will include obstruction of justice and other felony crimes involving our investigation related to public corruption. Because it was a government attorney, Michael Rossi, who's seen in this picture, who took a picture in the courthouse during our hearing in a civil harassment case. And in that case, attorney Nicole Ford claimed that I was harassing her by putting these photos somewhere on the internet. And my investigative reporter associate, Stephen James, was my advocate in that case, and he's also a witness to a government attorney engaging in a crime. So when we met that group of First Amendment auditors on YouTube last summer, We knew something special had happened. We just didn't know what. And over the last few months, those YouTube auditors have taught us to ask for a supervisor when dealing with the police, to film whenever it's possible, and that it's always better to work together than to work alone.
That's who she is and what her story is. Pay attention.
Look, I'm gonna be back though. When I come back, I hope you be as quick as you feel me. Would you go tell the judge, dog? See you go up there. And you cool with that, right? You really don't get alright. You really don't got a choice though. If we out here, you know, his jurisdiction is there. Tell him don't cross the line, we won't have a problem.
No snitching, man, no snitching.
How you going now?
I'm
on
good.
video, just to let you know.
You are? That's awesome. Do you know I'm being criminally prosecuted for taking a picture in a courthouse? So
Really?
Can I get your card?
Really?
And
Yes.
I would like to
Follow us on
in
YouTube.
Santa Clara, not here.
Inside the actual courtroom, or just in the lobby area?
I was in the court file room protecting a dad looking at his file, and I was filming police misconduct, and I'm being prosecuted.
Wow.
So did you just get the judge's permission to do this? No.
We are activists, and this is what we do. We record in public. We fight for the First Amendment.
My name is Susan Bassey.
Susan Bassey is a publisher and government watchdog. Shortly after she gave whistleblower testimony to the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, she was subject to police excessive force and arrest. This is her 3-minute testimony on November 14th, 2017.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Susan Bassey, and I just want to give a little background. I've been a Santa Clara County resident since 1990. I'm a First Amendment advocate, and I've worked with many of you. Cindy, you came to a Seroptimus meeting and asked us in advance of the Super Bowl coming to town to help with some of the sex trafficking issues. I've worked on that. I've worked on many committees for our youth and to protect our community for many years. What is concerning is that as economic variables have happened in our community, our local community papers have gone away, and that has led to less transparency about what's going on. There is a culture in this community that can no longer be tolerated, and when my report comes out, you will all be very embarrassed about what's been going on in Santa Clara County courts, as you have been the leaders in this community. You won't be able to say that you didn't know. These people have been calling you, they have been crying in your offices, they have been talking about their property being stripped, their children being taken from them, and things that you wouldn't believe happen in America. It's appalling, and I'm asking you to do something to change the culture. I'm doing something by publishing the report. It will be disseminated far and wide. I will not redact names, and I will call everybody to be accountable, because that's the job of a free press. I have been threatened by the Santa Clara County Police and by the sheriffs, and I'm not going to be threatened into not publishing this information. Thank you. My name is Susan Bassey.
My name is David. It's on Essential. So if you guys were paying attention like I was, I decided to go check out what she was talking about, the U.S. Press Freedom Tracker. Over here on the top right, you can see that it says submit an incident, and you're going to see that she submitted her incident. You guys, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of her story. Her finger was broken for recording in a courtroom. This is her story right here. You guys can pause it and read it, or I'll leave the description. I'll leave the link in the description so you guys can go look at it and read it on your own time. Follow her story. She supports the First Amendment. She does very well, so let's support her. The First Amendment.
My name is Susan Bassey.
My name is David. It's on Essential.
Free Press Tracker.
Wow.
freepresstracker.us.
Do you have a pen to write down our channel names? We are on YouTube.
Do you guys have cards or anything?
I do, but I ran out. We left them in the. If you have a pen.
What's going on in here?
I don't.
The agency that disciplines judges, there's a lawyer who has sued them for wasting taxpayer money, and right now they've done a demur, which means to throw it out, and they are arguing about whether we have a right to prosecute judges. It's a very important case.
Wow.
And so it's very exciting to watch all that. And
How long has it been going on?
it's been going on for an hour, our oral argument. There was a tentatively be posted.
Do you have
Are they going to be continued, or are they making a decision today?
The judge will have to make a decision.
today?
He might submit it. Can I take all of your pictures?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, Mike, I might have more charges in Sacramento.
No, you won't. No, you won't. This is what we do.
Can I give you my email? Or
Yes.
will you
Go
guys
ahead and tell it to our
contact
channels.
me?
Tell it to our
Okay,
channels.
it's gilroybassey@gmail.com.
Spell it out, King.
Gilroy, like the city, Gilroy. My last name is Bassey, Bassi, @gmail.com. That's S like Sam, S like Sam. You guys are awesome.
Awesome work.
We have
Nice to meet you.
we have YouTube channels, and what we do is we go out and we fight for the First Amendment because rights are being violated every day.
You're
and
my boys.
I have a channel with 100,000 subscribers. He has
What is the
40.
name of your
40
channel?
My channel is San Joaquin Valley Transparency. Just type in
I've
San
seen you
Joaquin.
guys.
Yes, that's what's
I've
up.
seen you guys.
That's
Wait,
awesome.
wait.
That's awesome. Tulare County Cop Watch right there. That's Into Film. This guy just flew in from New Jersey yesterday.
Wait, here, I need you guys all back together.
Come here, Into Film. Get over here, bro. Get over here.
So I'm standing outside the courtroom.
Get over here, girl.
in Sacramento.
You're with us today. Get over here.
I'm standing outside the courtroom outside of Sacramento where they are fighting for transparency over judge crime. And this is a group fighting for that. May I see the back of your shirts, please?
I don't have one.
That's all I got right here.
We'll tell you our channels
Tell
real
me
quick.
your channel.
That's Wolfie Gladly. Tell your channel, bro.
Wolfie Gladly, Accountability Inspector on YouTube.
San Joaquin Valley Transparency.
The letter N, the number 2, FILM,
Into
into film, all one word.
This is the lawyer right now that is working on the CJB.
Awesome.
His name is Kat.
We are First Amendment activists.
Oh,
And we go out and record in public and make sure they don't violate anybody's rights. My name is David. I have a YouTube channel called San Joaquin Valley Transparency.
Oh, great.
And
Hi, how you doing?
I wish you luck today, man. I hope
thank you.
everything goes well today.
Yeah, well, I
So
think
what's happening right now? Are they on recess? Or?
the judge heard another case.
So this is your
our
attorney?
case under submission, meaning he's going to look at everything again and look at the argument.
So what is he doing?
Or is it going to be finished today?
No, the judge will
Awesome.
review what we argued today and decide whether to change his tentative decision or not. He issued a tentative decision, and it went against us actually on First Amendment issues. So we'll see what he does.
They're trying to take the First Amendment away. Every day they're doing something. So
Well, this case involves the First Amendment, at least the first cause of action, but it's a little more precise. There is a California constitutional provision that the voters and the legislature enacted in 2004, Proposition 59. It's Article 3(1)(b) of the California Constitution, or Article 1(3). I'm getting mixed up. Anyway, it says the public has a right of access to information about how public agencies conduct themselves and whether they're doing their job or not.
right.
And the Commission on Judicial Performance its task is to monitor judges and to guard against judicial corruption. Yep. And one of the things that it does under its rule and policy is it gets information about judges that possibly have committed crimes, and the Commission claims it has the right to not refer that information to the prosecutor. So the Commission can decide that a judge who commits crimes will not be prosecuted because it suppresses the information. The Commission has a policy declaration 4.2 which lays out a procedure as to what the Commission does when it receives information from the public that maybe a judge committed crimes. And there's been public criticism for going back several years to the Commission that the Commission does not refer judge crime to the prosecutors. Okay. And the Commission in response in August 2017 denied that. They said, we've made referrals on multiple occasions. So all we said here today was, show us the data.
Producing.
Show us the numbers. And they said, oh, well, that's confidential. It's not confidential.
Right, yeah, it's supposed to be public.
You know, now if you think about it, there is a confidentiality as to investigations, if someone's being criminalized, if a judge is being investigated, that information does remain confidential. But we're talking strictly about statistics. For the past 20 years, Commission, how many times have you referred a judge to the Attorney General or to a district attorney for criminal prosecution? You said you've done it multiple times. We can only find, after scouring public records, we can only find one instance where there's an indication that the commission made a referral. Only one, and that's Judge Dancer, D-A-N-S-E-R, back in 2000.
So before I show you why Judge Dancer was indicted for breaking the law and fixing traffic court tickets with Los Gatos police officers, I want to ask you to subscribe to Michael Lazaren's channel. Right now he only has 15 subs, but in the spirit of working together, as we all do here on YouTube, I'm going to ask you to show him some support. And then I'm going to show you a story that's going to blow your mind.